Long live play.
Hello and welcome to the 54th episode of Long Live Play, the #1 Australian PlayStation podcast full of lukewarm takes and those mental breaks, hosted by myself, Govinda Whitehurst, and the No Man's Sky to my Starfield, Mr. Khayl Adam. If you like what you hear, you can and should review us on Apple Podcasts or follow us on Instagram and Twitter at LongLivePod. There is a link tree to other places that you can find us together and separately if you so wish. With that out of the way, Khayl, how are you going?
Govinda, I am fantastic, and I'm honoured to be here with you today to provide to you my expert professional gaming takes. I'm here to guide you through what we in the industry call the silly season, you know? It's like there's been so many gaming shows, there's been so many announcements, and look, I'm going to guide you through it all. I'm going to teach you a thing or two, and look, we might even have a little bit of fun along the way. How's that sound?
I hate you sometimes. You're just the most smug. You know, like you're real smug. Everything goes to your head immediately. There's no downtime. There's no slowly seeps in. It's just immediately to your head. So look, just to be fair, I've watched the two big ones that we're going to go through. I watched both of them. I watched more of them than you, I would say, because you were busy writing articles that no one cared about. So who's really going to lead someone through something, huh? But yes, as you alluded to, this is the Long Live Play Showcase, where we showcase all of the showcases that showcased all of the games that you may or may not be interested in.
But to be fair, we've already, for the sake of time, we've cut the less important shows, or at least their showings. We've cut it right
Look,
now.
we're going to focus mainly on the Summer Games Fest and the Xbox, funnily enough, the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, which we had some important multi-platform information and some not important Xbox exclusive information, but we're gonna cover it because it's important to us, so it's important to you.
For the Future Games Fest, we've just kind of picked out a few. There's a couple from the PC Games Show, and Capcom was there wasn't much there. So we
have 5 showcases to go through, and you know what? I don't even think that was all of them. I think there was another one, and we're going to just pretend like it doesn't exist for now, because we did give you the longest episode ever in our history with episode 52, a 1-year extravaganza. And this is looking like it's probably going to be longer, which makes me sad, personally sad, because I have to deal with the edit. But it is what it is. We do it for you, so go leave us a review.
Quickly, I'm good. It's been a good week. I'm feeling good, productive, happy, rested. Now, you did mention to me that you had something for how you're going today, so I'm very eager to flip the script and ask how you going.
Now, Khayl, I'm going well. I'm going well. As you know, I'm a contractor, correct? I do contract work.
We all know this.
And it's getting to the end of the Australian financial year. And you know what that means, Khayl. That means
Cha-ching!
I'm going to owe the government a lot of money. And one way to circumvent that is to write off shit on tax. Just write it off on tax. And what does that mean to everyone? I don't necessarily know exactly. It just sounds cool and I like writing stuff off. But from what I gather, it means it gets deducted from my total taxable income. So I don't pay tax on that amount of money. Now, what's something that I could buy potentially that is then something I could write off on my tax return and not pay tax on that amount of money? And that would be a PC that I was maybe going to build.
Ooh,
fall to the dark side,
Govinda.
Now,
Come.
some would say, do I need one? And the answer to that would be, I don't. I don't really need one. But on the inverse of that, even though we'll get to it later, but even though Starfield is maybe looking a little lackluster, it does give me a means to play it.
It's true.
So, I'm thinking about just doing it, just dropping money, lots of it, and building a PC.
I'd like that. We could play some fun games on our computers.
Do you want to know do you want to know my build?
I mean, look, if I have to, I understand what it's like. I do understand the thrill of announcing the build. It's a nice thing.
Well, I don't think it means much to a lot of people because this is a PlayStation podcast and most people listening to this have actively avoided what I'm about to say. So take that as you will. But I'm going to get an AMD Ryzen 5 5600X 3.7 gigahertz 6-core processor. That's going to go on an MSI B550A Pro ATX motherboard. Then we're going to get some Corsair Vengeance 16 gig, 2 sticks of 8 gig RAM, DDR4 for that bad boy. It's going to come with a 1 terabyte Samsung 970 EVO SSD.
Yeah.
The big one, obviously, the graphics card is what everyone wants to know about, right? And I can't
Unveil.
do the 3080, dude. I can't do it. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. Let's just, for reference sake, a 3080 is the cost of this entire build.
Yeah, that's
almost.
wild. That is
give
wild.
or take $300 or $400. But I'm going to get a RTX 3070
exactly how I pictured
with 8
breaking
gigs
this
of
in.
gaming RAM. So there's that. That'll be pretty chill. Going to put everything into a Corsair 4000D Airflow tower case with a 650 watt power supply that no one cares about because it's just a power supply. It just gives power to everything.
It's necessary. It's very
It
necessary.
is. Now you'll notice two things. Well, you'll notice one thing. No cooling. I've got no cooling there, but I'm fairly confident that the cooling on the tower, on the case, is going to be enough already.
Yeah.
So I don't think I need additional fans in there, and I think that's going to be fine. Worst case, I need some more fans in there, and we'll put a fan in there. But I really don't think I'll need it.
It all sounds very good. I can't remember what I got, but it was recommended to me. Like, I got a Corsair fan or something. I had someone much smarter and savvier put together a build for me, and what I imagine is the case for you too.
No, I did most of this myself with a little bit of pestering of a friend of mine to get more information. I also, when I first built this, I built it with a 3080, and he was like, just don't do it. And I was like, that's fair. I also had 32 gigs of RAM, but I was like, I just probably don't need it. In the worst case, I can upgrade later. And the Corsair Airflow tower case, like the case for it, it's an airflow case. It's already got a fan built in, so I don't think I need an additional fan. So
Yeah, right.
that's what I'm thinking. Me pulling the trigger and me building it like this are two different things, though. So let's see how we go.
I think you should do it. You've been talking about it for a long time. It's a cool thing when it finally gets here and you fucking have it. It's good. What did I do? No, mine came mostly pre-built. I paid like an extra $50 and they did it for me at Umart because I was an idiot and like I had never built anything either. I forgot to put in things like a Bluetooth receiver because no one tells you that.
Oh,
like you got to add things like that.
I need to check that because actually I was originally going to put in I had a Ethernet card thing to chuck in there, and I realized I didn't need it because it's already on the motherboard, but a Bluetooth receiver is probably something I'll need to add to that.
Google that stuff because things like a Wi-Fi receiver too, crucial, and no one tells you that.
I won't need Wi-Fi because I've got my
Ethernet.
my Ethernet node that my PlayStation plugs into right below me.
I got the whole thing, delivered, pre-set up, but I'd forgotten the Bluetooth thing, so I had to pay like a man from one of those like Nerds on Wheels services to come here and put it in, and it was like, it literally took him like 40 seconds and it cost me $80.
Yeah, I was going to say I would have done it for 50.
Anyway, the lessons you learn.
So look, that's the thing that I'm thinking about doing. My problem is, one, all I'm going to do on it is most likely play games. You know, my editing workflow for the podcast is very stuck in the Mac ecosystem, so I'm still going to do that.
Yep.
And so I don't know. It's a lot of money
You
just
could
to play
work on
games,
it,
you know?
for your day job.
I can't work on it. No, I need Telstra's IP, like Telstra's VPN client on it for me to work on it. So I can't actually work on it.
Well, this really is a vanity buy, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's why I'm really tossing up. But it's a decent chunk of money that won't get taxed on my tax return. That's like the biggest appeal. Like,
Yeah.
technically I probably would save $600 on this thing because it's not money I'm getting taxed on. So it's very tempting.
It's a really, for the amount of money you're spending, like that's a really good build. Mine was a couple of years ago now, but I got a 2080. I think I have a fucking crazy processor. It's like an i9 or something insane. But yeah, a few years ago, that cost me double what you're talking about. It cost me nearly $4,000 for the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And then I had to buy like a monitor on top of that, and that was like.
Well, that's the other thing is
$1,000.
I need another monitor too because the one I have now is 4K 60, but I want the higher refresh rate if possible. You know, so it's
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen? I will maybe just sell my camera and do it.
I stuffed up too. Like I think I have 32 gig of RAM, and you just don't need that.
Yeah, that's why I did
It's a
16, and
ludicrous
if I
amount.
need more, I can always get more, but I really don't think I will. So that's me. That's me now. So yeah,
I love that. Watch this space.
Watch this space. Will it happen? Who knows? And you'll notice real quickly that if or when I get it, real quickly we'll start talking about PC games that I said we would never talk about. It's just all about
allow
me.
it.
But that's pretty much it. And again, we have so much on this docket that we are going to just start moving on through. We're not even going to really talk too much about games we're playing. I'm going to be honest. We're gonna save them for next week. We'll really rack them up. But
yeah, we were thinking like because we're both playing the Quarry, but we're both like halfway through, so we'll give ourselves another week. And I'm kind of hoping to be done by then, but I say that every week and I never do. So
yeah, and when you told me what you were up to at one point before you played it again, I was shocked at how little you'd played.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's save that for next week.
There was also an update to Chivalry 2. We both kind of played a little bit of that as well. But again, we're not going to... We'll save this. It means next week we can have a lot to talk about because we have literally... I'm going to say over 100 things that we're talking about in this show, and I'm scared about that. Now, the only thing I'm going to mention two things I've played. And I'm playing Final Fantasy 9 because Sean's playing Final Fantasy 9. And I was like, well, I have it on Switch, so I'm going to play Final Fantasy 9. So now I'm playing Final Fantasy 9 in tandem with Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I'm getting a Final Fantasy rabbit hole right now, and I'm kind of okay with it.
This continues the meta-narrative of this show, which is that Lashonda, friend of the show, is the secret tastemaker. And he sort of chooses the games, and we follow them.
No, that's not true. Typically, Sean and I like very different games.
He got us onto this remake kick, though. Like, he got me to try it too when he started playing.
It was just, timing was key for this because I had nothing to play. I had nothing to play for this period of emptiness in the middle of the year, and that was a good one that I had all intentions of finishing at some point that I just forgot about, and I'm going back. So right now I'm at chapter 13, I believe, in the remake, and so lots of side quests just popped up. I'm just killing those off right now, and then 6 chapters to go, and I think I'm wrapping this bad boy up.
Yeah, right.
And Final Fantasy 9 it's good. I'm just getting through it. I don't have much to say, and we can talk about it more later.
For me, it's funny because we talked about it last week. I said if there was ever a sale on Devil May Cry 5, I would get it, and lo and behold, it was $12, so I picked it up, and I've been playing it a little bit, and it's really quite fun. We were talking about last week, like that style of combo chasing, trying to like achieve S ranks isn't really for me, but it's not necessary. Like, it's just a fun game as well. It's so wildly over the top and fucking edgelord that it should put me off, but it's kind of awesome. Like, it has the most over the top credit sequence I've ever seen. You're like in the van, the Devil May Cry van, it's like your arsenal on wheels, and you're like cruising through the streets, and there's these weird like zombie things, and the truck hits a pothole and is going through a crowd of these monsters, and your dude, who isn't Dante, and again, I'm not like a fucking expert on this, it's escaping me. You play as some other dude this time. He jumps out the window, it goes to like a ludicrous slow-mo sequence, and he's bouncing off dudes' heads and shooting them in the face, and does like a full circuit of the van as the van flies through the air and is rolling over, and there's your armorer chick in the car, and she's smoking a ciggy, and the ciggy falls away, and she like manages to catch that while you're like putting down just so many enemies. And it's a lot, but it's very cool. I think I'll continue. I'm like actually 5 or 6 levels into it, and each level is like, half an hour. But I've played a bit, and I'm loving it.
So with that over-the-top action in mind, does it make you more or less excited for Final Fantasy 16 being combat directed by Ryota Suzuki, who also was involved in Devil May Cry?
Yeah, it certainly gives me a new appreciation for that. Like, yeah, that's a positive.
God damn it now.
Like, it's a good combat system. It's very fluid, very fast. And it doesn't need to be that, but I can see that this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about it because I would hope that... The thing that with Final Fantasy VII Remake that gets me, and I've mentioned it ad nauseum at this point, is it's just a bit of, like, all over the place. They don't know if they want to be turn-based or if they want to be an action game, and it's a little bit of a muddled mess of both of them sometimes. And I'm hoping that this Ryota Suzuki could maybe help it be a little more flowy, and maybe just choose one of those sides a little more. And it feels like the years of turn-based or close to turn-based Final Fantasy games is probably coming to an end, and it's going to probably lean heavier into that action combat.
Honestly, yeah, I think that ship is fucking sailed. Like, DMC 5 isn't perfect, and quite frankly, it's a bit... If it was just the straight combat system, like straight up, I would be disappointed. Because it's like, it just is not Final Fantasy. And that's not what I want.
No, I don't
Final
think they
Fantasy
will. I don't
to
think
be.
they
Like,
will, but I think it's just maybe to iron out some of the kinks, maybe, you know? Like, just to kind of... You just got to pick a side, I think, and I think that's where the Final Fantasy 7 thing is a little bit divisive, because I've heard other people talk about that combat system as being a little bit all over the place, and I think maybe it's a pick a lane situation. If you just lean into one a little bit more, I think it'll probably be for the best, but... We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I was just interested to see. It's really just trying to rank me every time I do a fight in every level. That's just such a turn off for me. And the only real exception to that was like Metal Gear Solid 5. And even that, I would prefer if they didn't do it.
I will say, because of course I had to check what the platinum requirements is for this game. It is considered to be one of the hardest platinums out there. It has a 10 out of 10 Power Picks rating for the platinum, and it's fucking ludicrous. Like, yeah, you need S rankings in everything on the 5 different difficulty levels. The final difficulty level is like enemies have 800% health and kill you in one hit. One hit. And it's like, there's a lot going on in this game. Like, you get hit.
What's the percentage of platinum trophy holders?
I didn't check, but I guarantee it's very low.
Yeah, okay.
Very
low. I'm sure it's not even possible to be lower, but I'm still wondering if it's lower than the 0.1 Hell Let Loose platinum.
I'm playing on the regular difficulty, like not the baby mode, but it's tough. Like, I was stuck on a boss, died like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
I cannot fathom it.
I'm just not good at them. I'm not good at them. And that's kind of what concerns me a little bit about Final Fantasy 16 is like, if it's like that, I'm bad at those games and I'm going to not enjoy it because I feel bad. And so...
Yeah.
With Square Enix reaching to try and get a new audience into Final Fantasy by making it maybe a little more action-oriented, they may lose some of the OG fans, you know?
I will say, just to finish this, and we should move right along, like, it is an interesting thing that we think about Final Fantasy as, like, being turn-based, when literally the only thing that is consistent about Final Fantasy is that it changes every time. Like, we shouldn't expect what came before.
Maybe calling it turn-based isn't accurate, but it's more of like an active time battle system that is a consistent thread through all of it. But that's still in Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, and even that is not sacred. Like, as they've shown, like,
Oh, of course,
they
it's
just
not.
changed this game.
Final Fantasy 10 was not, but I think there was always like it was always turn-based-ish, you know?
Well, the thing is, and again, this is depressing to me too, but no Final Fantasy game sold anywhere near close as well as 15 did.
Yeah, I know.
15 is far and away the best selling, so people are not married to that turn-based nostalgia.
You get the new audience, and it is a nostalgia thing. I think a lot of it is like you grow up with something, and if you don't, but it's funny because the entire gaming audience as a whole was so much smaller when these turn-based games are coming out now that people don't have that nostalgia. I'd say probably a majority don't because they just didn't grow up with that sort of game. So
no, it's true. Yeah. We're old as fuck.
We're old as fuck, and I guess it's just weird that Final Fantasy X was the first game I played, and it is the most strict turn-based Final Fantasy game that I can think of, other than the early ones. Like, it is like there is no ATB. It is straight up just your turn is your turn. You take your time. It's all good. The only thing that changes is the order, and I appreciate that. So anyway, we can move right along, Khayl.
Would you like to move right into some quickfire news, Govinda?
Yes, I would, Ken.
First up, Govinda, Battlefield 2042 has been described as being in abandoned ship mode. That's according to Jeff Grubb speaking on his premium Grubb Snacks show. The direct quote from Grubb is, "This game is basically down to a skeleton crew. It's down to like the bare bones, and those people are specifically just working on the promised additional seasons that the game needs to meet the requirements of the high-end version that it sold. The skeleton crew is working to pump that stuff out the fastest and cheapest it possibly can. They're doing this to move everyone onto the new Battlefield as fast as possible. The real core crew of Battlefield developers are already working on that." End quote. Does this surprise you? It seems like good business.
It does. Like, there's a classic saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think there's also the antithesis of that, which is always in the subtext, which is like, if it is broke, just leave it alone. Just let it go. It's
Cut
over.
Your losses.
Get a new one. You know?
Yeah.
It's funny, I actually played this week. I played it because my brother swore to me that it was fun again and that they'd fixed it all. And so I played it, and it was not fun again, and it was not fixed. So just a classic example of it being not fixed.
Worth saying that EA did respond directly to this report, and they said that this is untrue and that they are still working on it. They are committed to it.
of course they'll say that. And they are. They're not lying. They're still working on it. They're still committed to it. They will get out what they said they'll get out. But I was playing it. I was promised to me that it was fun again. And I always play shooters with R3 as crouch and slide, if that's a possible option. And it is in Battlefield 2042. So I went back in. I feel like my settings got fucked up, so I had to swap it back again. As soon as I swapped it back to that, all of the button prompts on my screen, when I'm in like my choose a class menu, choose a loadout menu, all said not set. So I didn't know how to change my class. I didn't know how to change my loadout because all the buttons on the screen said not set. And I was like, awesome, that's a good start for me. And then there's a new map.
Total.
There's a new map out, and I played it a few times, which is fine. It's a new map. It's cool. And then I tried to try and get a game of any other map, and it wasn't possible because they were just doing a infinite rotation of this new map. And there was even in game like lobbies where you were meant to be in a rotation, I couldn't find a game, so I had to go back to this one game mode where I'm just playing the exact same map again and again and again and again and again. And yeah, no, it wasn't fun. And I was like, okay, well, I tried, and I'm out.
Yeah, look, that surprises me not one bit. Not one bit. Moving right along, Govinda, let's talk about God of War Ragnarok's release date again. Would you like to?
Honestly, not really. Can we do a thing? Can we only talk about it if we know when it's coming out?
A memorandum? Wait, no. A memorial? I don't know.
No, but I just mean, like, can we just... I honestly want to cut this and we're only talking about it when it's officially announced.
I'll take that. How about you give me one last one, and then that's
I'm going to do it.
from
God of
now.
War Ragnarok apparently is coming out in November. That's just some random word in the street from some place, and that's all we know.
That's according to Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, although unfortunately Bloomberg is behind a paywall and I refuse to pay for it.
Hot tip, if you type in... what is it? There's something you can type in after the www./ you can type in like archive a1 dot, and it will take you to an archive website of that page without the paywall.
Oh.
But anyway, don't worry about it. That doesn't work exactly like that because I don't know what the actual thing is to type in there, so don't you worry about that. Yeah, Jason Schreier, he's a guy that writes stuff about games, and whether it's true or not, who knows, but it probably is, and we'll tell you when it's definitively announced.
Next up, the long-awaited addition to PlayStation Plus, PS Plus as we've come to know it here, is live in the United States, and the release in Australia is just around the corner. It's coming on the 22nd of June. People like it.
Yeah,
is what I'm seeing.
I've heard
I haven't
positivity.
investigated it. Yeah, I haven't investigated it too deeply, but it seems positive.
I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but it seems significantly cheaper if you buy it per year.
Oh yeah, that's always the case.
But like significantly.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
I think the premium tier is like $21.99 or something a month in Australia, and it's $184, $185 a year, which is a pretty nice saving if you decide to go for the full year. I still maintain I'm probably just going to get the extra and call it a day.
I'll certainly try it for a month. Yeah, I'm on those game journalist wages now, so I got to be selective.
I'm probably just going to do it. I'm
do.
probably just going to cop the year, and then every March when it reloads, I'll just go, damn it, I forgot about that, and then that's just what it is. That's usually how I roll with this.
Govinda, that is all well and good, but it is time for the news we care about.
Welcome to Long Live Play's 2022 Showcase, where we showcase the game showcased at all the Showcase this week. First off, right as the episode posted, essentially, I think the morning the episode posted was Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest.
Something tells me
and
he's
there
not.
was
Yes.
quite the list of things that were announced, some of which relevant to PlayStation, others not so much. But we have, honestly, I think with all the showcases that are showcased, we have so many things to go through, so forgive us for skimming through some of the content, as it were.
Yeah, I've certainly not watched everything here. I watched most of Summer Game Fest and a lot of the Xbox and Bethesda Showcase. Outside of that, it's a bit patchy. So we're not going to go through everything, but we'll hit the big ticket items.
Yeah, look, I watched all of it. I watched all of Summer Games Fest, watched all of Bethesda, Microsoft, but even still, it was a week ago for me at this point, and I'm a little fuzzy on some of it. And some of it just isn't necessarily relevant to us as well, so...
Let's get into it, shall we? So, Summer Games Fest opened with Aliens Dark Descent. This is developed by Tindalos Interactive, and this seems to be like a tactical shooter set in the Aliens universe, and I was kind of into it.
I was
have
kind
to
of
be
into it,
honest
but it was
about
really just like a cinematic trailer we got as far as I can tell. It wasn't like, I don't know, is it a third-person shooter like a Gears kind of thing, or is it like a tactical shooter like an XCOM? Like, I really don't know.
isometric.
Isometric?
Top down.
Is it like a twin stick, or is it a like XCOM kind of vibe?
My understanding was XCOM.
Okay, well, look, a game for you, not for me. But that is... the cinematic was very nice, I'll say that much.
Next up, we had Callisto Protocol, which continues to look incredible. It's one of the creators of the original Dead Space, and it's being developed by Striking Distance. This was probably the highlight for me of this showcase.
You know what, I can't say that definitively until we get to the end of this, because there was... there's just so much, and I honestly don't remember it all.
Yeah.
Look, it looked really good, but I just think... And I guess it's a Dead Space thing, and I haven't played Dead Space in a while, but it just... I don't know. The combat didn't look super intense or anything. He just stands in a hallway and strafes like side to side real slowly while shooting a gun at something. And I'm realizing now that is pretty much Dead Space.
That's Dead Space.
Yeah, that's
pretty much
I don't know, it looks fantastic. Like, the animations and everything look really nice, and he dies in a very gruesome manner at the end of this, which was, again, kind of nice. Very akin to Tomb Raider.
What doesn't come through in this kind of gameplay trailer is like the terror.
Yeah.
Like when you're playing Dead Space and like the atmospheric, like you're watching every fucking shadow to see some nightmare come out.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what is missing.
It almost seemed like a little, I guess, like he's got like the telekinesis gun or something, so he throws the dude into a fan, which is pretty sick. But it's almost like too obviously Dead Space, because he's shooting like a cutter. Like, it looks like a cutter, and it cuts a leg off at some point.
It does.
And I'm like, okay, well, now you're just shitting on Dead Space, which is almost funny considering Dead Space comes out a month after this game.
Yeah, it's a month. It does make you think like what the line is, because this is one of the original creators, and yeah, at what point are you just literally ripping off Dead Space?
Yeah, I guess you can't really rip it off if you made it. You know what I mean? Sure, you're at a different studio, so it's not technically a rip-off if it's your game. It's like a spiritual successor almost. But no, it does look very good. Like, just atmospherically and everything looks really rad. It was just, I remember watching it thinking the combat looked like, I was like, it doesn't feel tense because you just stand, like, you're not even scared of them. You're just standing staunch in a hallway with a gun going...
It will be terrifying.
I'm sure it will.
Do you play Dead Space? Like, the original was so scary.
It's funny, I definitely finished 2. I don't think I finished the first Dead Space. I don't think I did. I think for me, the first Dead Space was a little too, like, wrap around on itself. Like, you just are very enclosed and you keep going through the kind of
very
same areas
claustrophobic
again and stuff. Dead Space 2 I did enjoy, and Dead Space 3 was a little too actiony. So...
Yeah, the third one was terrible. But that first one was almost like... It was almost like an Uncharted situation where the first one was, like, a little too...
raw.
Pure.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for me, I think the second one is the best one. That
yeah.
might be blasphemy to people, but
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
really thought so. Moving right along, this one I don't even remember because it's Call of Duty. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 from Infinity Ward. We got the Dark Water official gameplay. I don't even remember seeing this. It was just men. Army men doing army men things.
Okay, so I'm not a huge Call of Duty fan by any means, but the Modern Warfare, like the remake that they did, the single player was actually very good. It was a short little 6 to 8 hour single player campaign. I don't generally like first person shooters, but I feel like the brevity of that campaign was what I liked, and they're very good at making like a intense, semi-realistic, cinematic, like I am in a SWAT team army sim kind of game, even though it's kind of arcade.
Yeah.
And so I was watching this, and then I realized that I played a lot of Modern Warfare 2 when it came out, and I was proper flashing back to like the multiplayer maps on the tanker where there's all the shipping containers and stuff. But then in this, they've added this extra layer where they have a dynamic ocean, and so the ship is rocking dynamically, and the shipping containers are actually shifting dynamically as well, and so your cover is moving. I have no interest in the multiplayer of this game at all, but if there is a way that I can, let's say on PlayStation Plus, it comes up as like a game I can play as part of my deal, I will definitely play the single player. It looks pretty tight.
Look, moving right along, next up we got Flashback 2. I'm actually thinking that I didn't see these next 2 trailers. And again, for full transparency, I was covering this for Twinfinite, so I was writing a news story at this point, and as quickly as I could, and not watching the live stream. So yeah, I think I missed these next two, actually.
I don't understand like what the flashback thing is all about. Apparently it was a PC game from like 20 years ago or something like that, and they're finally getting a sequel to it. It's like a side-scroller, action-y kind of game, shooting things, but it's all side-scrolly platformer. I don't know if I have much more to say about it because I never played the original, and I don't have any sense of what it is or why people like it.
Developed by Microid Studio Leon. Next up, we had Witchfire, developed by the Astronauts. This is a roguelite, but yeah, it's not ringing any bells for me, actually.
Witchfire looks so sick, and then you just told me it was a roguelike, and I don't know if I care all of a sudden. So it is I don't even know how to, like a steampunk / medieval / fantasy first-person shooter where you have cool revolvers and bolt-action rifles, like steampunky almost, but then you're also shooting out sick magical spells kind of in a Bioshock manner. I sent this to our little group chat with Callum, and I said, this looks sick, and he was like, no, it looks pretty shit to me. Doesn't do anything new. And it honestly looks so good. And then you just told me it was a roguelike, and I'm instantly less interested.
That's fair. Well, at least they managed to cloak it for a moment.
Honestly, have a look at the combat and stuff. It looks really, like, just, I don't know, presentation-wise, it looks incredible, and then the combat looks pretty hectic, and the powers look good. This game looks so sick. I hate roguelikes, and I've accepted that now. Thanks, Returnal.
Next up, we had Fort Solace, developed by Fallen Leaf. This looks good, but it did make me realize that what I hate more than anything is when actors describe their project. So for this one, we had Troy Baker. Everyone knows Troy Baker, and Roger Clark, who was Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2. And they came out to talk about it. Yeah. And goddamn, do I hate that.
We'll talk about that again later in this show specifically, because I also hate it too, and it doesn't help me understand anything about this game, and I don't think Troy Baker is star power for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Troy Baker's like, oh, I'm going to play this Troy Baker game. I've never thought that in my life, and I will never think that in the future, so I don't know why they were brought on stage. I don't know.
Look, really cool guys, love their performances, but yeah, it's that kind of thing where you're like, I'm not really too interested, to be honest.
It honestly looks really cool. Like, it looks like they're trying to colonize Mars or something like that. Again, it seems very Dead Spacey.
There was a lot of that. That was the prevailing sentiment about this. Yeah. There was a lot of sci-fi horror going on at this show.
Yeah, but it looks really good. Again, presentation-wise, like, we're getting to a point where graphically games are looking redonk, and that's sick and all. But yeah, I don't know why they were there to tell me about it.
Next up was Routine, which is, again, sort of another horror sci-fi situation. I don't really remember much about it, but it was developed by Luna Software, worth mentioning.
Yeah, I don't really... It's, again, creeping around a spaceship. It looks nice. I don't quite understand what I'm doing and or why. It kind of almost has like an Alien... what was the first? Alien Isolation kind of vibe to it, but there's these creepy robots instead of an alien in the ship.
Do you know who developed that game, by the way, just as a fun fact?
Alien Isolation?
Yeah.
No.
It's my favorite studio, Creative Assembly, creator of the Total War games.
Oh, did they actually?
Isn't that weird?
That's so out of their wheelhouse. I just never would have guessed that in a million years.
Anyway, then we had a very strange interlude with The Rock, who, from his home gym, it looked like, shirtless, sweaty, began to shill energy drinks aggressively.
Yeah, dude, I did not... Like, what the fuck was this about? Because this was about the movie Black Adam, in which The Rock plays Black Adam. But it felt like the craziest product placement. Like, it just seemed like Jeff Keighley needed more money for the show. And so they're like, what we'll do... The Rock can talk about Black Adam, so Black Adam can give us money, but then we'll have a private deal with The Rock where he shills his energy drink, which I've forgotten the name of, and I refuse to plug it on this show. And he literally goes, I'm in the Iron Jungle, or whatever his fucking gym's called, and he's like, powered by his energy drink. Insert his energy drink name here. It was I couldn't believe it.
It's just one of the, and he had like a weird comment where he's like, look, if you don't know who Black Adam is, because I don't, I'm vaguely familiar with like DC comics, but he was like, if you don't know who Black Adam is, well, Superman. his weaknesses are kryptonite and magic. And guess what Black Adam can do? Magic. And you're like, all right. All right.
I just didn't understand it. And it was crazy because it was like the most, not the most, but it was just a super lo-fi video that he obviously just recorded on his phone.
Yeah.
And like there was no script to it really. He was like,
it was like selfie
angle in there a
angle.
lot, just selfie angle in the gym, and he kept holding up his energy drink. It was obviously Jeff Keighley just didn't have enough money for this show, and The Rock was going to give him a lot of it. So
I mean, look, great get.
It's fine.
Great get.
Oh, look, who doesn't love The Rock? But that was just such a weird thing.
Moving right along, we had Outriders World Slayer expansion. This is developed by People Can Fly. I actually played Outriders. I own it. It was fine. It was pretty forgettable. It's like a third-person cover shooter that was like a games as a service. It was sort of like a third-person.
I think I played the demo of it. It just didn't do it for me.
It was fine, and this continued to just be.
Isn't this the one where they only just made development costs back or something? Like it just didn't even make them money at all.
I can't remember. That sounds like.
Anyway,
a thing.
That's fine. Anyway,
then we had Fall Guys, and
Is anybody
I
here?
found this trailer to be terrifying. This was a live-action Fall Guys trailer in which people just going about their day-to-day lives were transmogrifying into the Fall Guys. Just, like a barista mid-pour becomes a Fall Guy. It was horrific.
running down the street. I didn't. Yeah, whatever. It was just there for the Fall Guys being free to play and the new season starting. Anyway, that's all from Fall Guys. Next.
Then we had Stormgate, developed by Frosty Giant Studios. This was an RTS. I was kind of interested in this, but I don't know. It could go either way.
It could go either way. I don't even know if this is coming to PlayStation, if I'm being really honest. But it is co-op campaign, which intrigues me because that's like the only way I'll get through an RTS is if someone carries me the whole way through. And there's also like a 3v3 competitive multiplayer too. There is a beta meant to come out in 2023, but again, I don't know if it's honestly even going to be on PlayStation.
I said Frosty Giant. That was actually Frost Giant.
Well,
just for the record.
What's really the difference? A Frosty Giant? I guess a regular giant is Frosty versus a Frost Giant. I'm with you.
Then we had High Water, which comes to us via Demagogue Studios. I actually don't remember this one either, if I'm being honest.
Post-apocalyptic. It's kind of like, think Waterworld, but colourful kind of cell shade vibe. It looks really quite nice. I mean, I shouldn't have presumed this, but based on the look, it's an indie game.
Yeah.
But I don't really quite understand exactly what you're doing in it. But presentation is nice, and Waterworld was an interesting movie, if you like it. But essentially, that's what it is. Think of global warming hits a new high, and the water levels are too high, and we're riding around on boats everywhere.
I remember liking Waterworld, the movie, with Kevin Costner, I believe, and I remember the iconic scene where he pisses into the filter and it becomes his drinking water and he gobbles it down.
Pretty sure he hits a child in that movie too, pretty aggressively.
Cool.
And then the mum gets really mad about it.
Fair. That's fair enough.
Well, it's his fucking boat, all right? If he wants to hit a kid in his boat, he can. Otherwise, get your own boat or jump off. They're your two options.
Then we had American Arcadia, which I was pretty interested in, developed by Out of the Blue. It was sort of like The Truman Show. I actually got like 1984 vibes. This is like a dystopian society. It's quite colourful though, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's like I think a retro-futuristic kind of thing, and all the citizens find out that they're characters in a reality TV show, like the highest rating reality TV show. Very Truman Show-ish.
Yeah. No, I'm interested in that. I'll play that whenever
Looks
it comes out.
cool, again. I just talk about presentation, that's my whole thing. And the presentation looks really nice.
Yeah, this whole show was presented quite well. And it was actually decent, I think, overall. Like, there wasn't a lot of stoinkers, but there were a few
I give it a medium 7.
Next up was Goat Simulator 3. Now, the joke here, and it went way over my head. I was writing up a news story for this and just completely missed it. So the joke here is that it was spoofing Dead Island 2, the setup. Obviously, Dead Island 2 never came out. That was like a thing a few years ago. And the other joke is that there is no Goat Simulator 2. It went straight from 1 to 3.
While it was going on, I was writing a list of things that, just for the show, I was just writing things that were popping up. And I literally saw the goat in it, and I wrote down Goat Simulator 2, because in my mind there was only Goat Simulator 1. And then all of a sudden, it was Goat Simulator 3. And it all makes sense now. It all makes sense.
You idiot, Govinda. You didn't get the in-joke.
Well, I didn't know. I just thought they made a mistake.
Then we had Midnight Suns, which is another XCOM style game, but it's set in the Marvel universe. This, like, I should like, but it's so weird. It's like those games always work around cover, and this just seems to not. Like, you just fight things. Like, you've got Spider-Man, and he'll just, like, do his special attack turn-based, and
I
it's just
thought you would
weird.
like this, particularly just because it was made by Firaxis, who makes XCOM, so I'm just surprised that this one isn't for you. But I know what you mean. I guess it's going to be way more based around different abilities rather than cover and tactics.
Yeah.
Again, not for me.
Next up, we had Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course. If you'll recall, I alluded to a preview event I was going to a few weeks ago. This was it. The joke here, Govinda, and again, I didn't realize this for a while, The Delicious Last Course DLC.
I think we spoke about this last week.
I think we did too, actually.
I think you said this exact thing, because I was like, is it a new game or is it DLC? And you said, Delicious Last Course. And I was like, that was my light bulb moment.
This is cool. Like, they showed it off. There's a whole new character, a whole new island. We talked about how these games are just so brutally hard in a way that is very hard to overcome, but incredible presentation. Like, the bosses in
it's
this.
insane. Like, have you watched the show at all? The Cuphead show?
No, did that just come out or something?
It came out a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago. I haven't really watched too much of it, but the art style makes me want to do it just because they do such a good job with all the hand animation. But again, they showed like a little gameplay demo of one of the new bosses to expect on this island, and I was watching it being like, I could never do that.
Oh man, the fucking like ice wizard was so incredible. They showed us in the presentation, like he's like a wizard, and then he like snow falls and he wraps himself in snow, and then he like becomes a fridge and he's just launching like ice cube, and it's so seamless, the animation. Like,
and there's like a rotating floating platforms that you jump on, and I literally was watching it and I was like, I could never do this, and I've accepted that.
I couldn't take my eyes off the boss's movements and was completely not looking at the character. Like, it's there's so much going on. It's
crazy, dude. Like, things are going in so many different directions that you've got. I will never be able to play it, but kudos to anyone who can do it. Good on you. You're better than me.
Next one looks incredible. It's called Midnight Fight Express, developed by one man, Jacob Dwinzel. It is described as like a cyberpunk Hotline Miami, which is an instant sell to me. It looks great.
Dude, the scene on the subway car that I've seen, I don't know if it's actually in this trailer necessarily, but it looks so cool. And the fact that one dude made this is so impressive.
It's so disheartening when you're like, I will never create anything like that.
It's almost like an isometric Sifu, but more of a brawler.
Yeah.
It looks so sick. I'm just so impressed that one dude made this. I didn't get it. But yeah, it looks like it's not a quote-unquote PS5 game. It's going to be coming to PS4, but you can play it on your PS5. And the graphics do not lend themselves to be heavy requirements. You know, like, you don't need a PS5 to get the most out of this one.
In the interest of time, I'm going to blaze through this next little patch. Unless you got something to say, just interrupt me. Okay,
I'll stop you if I need to.
Next, we had Warframe, developed by Digital Extremes.
I think it's just DLC for Warframe, like a new big one they've been promising for a long time. If you're interested, that's there for you.
Then we had Honkai Star Rail. This was developed by MiHoYo, who we would know from Genshin Impact. I don't know. Then there was Zenless Zone Zero, developed by Hoyoverse. Again, didn't really grab me. Next one, though, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, developed by Tribute Games. I've been sort of raving about this to Govinda all day, on and off. I'm picking this up. It comes out tomorrow. I love it. This is like my childhood. Me and my older brother would play these like fucking side-scrolling beat-em-up Ninja Turtles games, and I'm just here for this. This looks incredible.
And the big reveal, because we've heard about this before, but the big reveal at this Games Fest was that you will be able to play as Casey, April, and Splinter in 6-player co-op.
Yeah, like if I'll buy this and we can play it together, and I think you can play online with those other people. So it's going to be a shell of a time, Govinda, and I'm really excited for it. Did you see what I did there?
A shell of a time.
Yeah, it's going to be a shell of a good time. Next up was Super People, developed by Wonder People. I don't remember this one either, to be honest.
Super People is a late challenger in the Battle Royale space, with developer Wonder People hoping to offer a combination of gameplay refinements and entirely new mechanics to provide a grounded but still eventful and aggressive take on the formula. It's in there, it's a Battle Royale. Is it worth playing? I guarantee nothing.
Next up, I think you might actually enjoy this. So it's called Humankind.
I did see this, and I probably will enjoy this.
Yeah, I have this on PC because of fucking course I do. It's like Civ 5, but
yeah,
it's interesting. You sort of like combine elements of different cultures. So like you'll take the military from the Romans and then like add it with like civic advances from the Greeks, and you sort of like build your own hybrid people.
Yeah, it's a PC game currently. It's developed by Amplitude Studios, but look, I don't think reviews are the be-all, end-all, but right now it's on a 6 out of 10 on Steam, so I'm not like, not super hyped.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know that I played it enough. I believe it though. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Moving right along, then we had One Piece Odyssey, developed by BNE Entertainment. This is a JRPG, but I know nothing about One Piece.
This is my problem, is I think if I loved One Piece, like the people who love One Piece, this would be so sick, because it's not just a One Piece fighting game. Like, that's all you've ever gotten, as far as I'm aware.
Like the aforementioned Callum, who fucking loves One Piece and has seen all 800 episodes, and will tell you about it.
I think we're in the 4 digits at this point, but I think this will be something that they'll love because it's an actual fully fledged JRPG rather than just a fighting game, which is a classic One Piece thing. So look, it looks fine, I guess, if you like One Piece. I don't get the fruits and the Yufis and the gums, you know what I mean? But if you like it, enjoy it.
Next was Metal Hellsinger. This looks pretty cool. This was like it's like a metal game. It's like that bullets per minute. So it's like a rhythm shooter, and you like shoot to the metal music.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I was watching this trailer, and he was talking about how you will do better if you are shooting to the beat and fighting to the beat. But I was watching it, and I was like, I don't think they're on time. Like, I don't think a lot of this is on the beat, and I feel like the trailer, I don't know, could have done better at like really reinforcing that things are happening on the beat, but it just didn't, to me, I didn't notice that it was all happening in rhythm. I don't know, the bands that they named are not bands I'm interested in, so immediately I'm out on this one.
Next up was Nightingale, which we have seen before. I didn't actually see this new trailer, but I know that I liked it when we saw it. I believe it was at the last PlayStation Showcase.
Yeah, I think we did see a little bit of it then. I don't really know what to say about it. It exists, and
it's a thing.
That's cool. I'm just a little bit... I don't understand this whole like card system they've got going on, where you like gate cards and realm cards. I don't know. They were losing me a little bit with all the cards.
Next up, we had Saints Row. This is the reboot, remake from Volition. They showed off the Boss Factory, which is the character creator. It's wild and zany, as you would expect, and that's why I don't like Saints Row. No,
I don't like Saints Row either, and I don't know why they've made it again. I didn't think there was a big enough audience to warrant that, but here it is. I think you can download the Boss Factory now as well, by the way, and any character you create will get carried into the game when it releases at some point.
That's cool. Then we had Layers of Fears from Bloober Team. I don't even really remember this either, to be honest. It's one of those things that I just like glaze over with.
Scary game. That's all.
Yeah.
This is the team that everyone thought was making Silent Hill, but really they were making a game called Layers of Fears, and then they showed it, and this is what it is now. Just an addendum as well, there was a Warhammer 40k Darktide in there as well, but I actually cut it because it's an Xbox exclusive.
Oh, good call. Okay. Then we had a quick trailer for Gotham Knights. This was focusing on Nightwing. Yeah,
I don't care. The more I hear about Gotham Knights, the less I care about Gotham Knights. I actually just don't care about it. And if it comes down and reviews really well, then I'll look. But honestly, like, stop showing me things. I'm over it.
It doesn't look great either. Every time, like, I'm looking at it right now, and
it's definitely the Arkham B team.
Yeah, right. Okay, and then we had a little bit of a Naughty Dog block that we're going to talk about. Neil Druckmann came out and he talked Sort of vaguely. We still didn't see anything about factions, which we've been very interested on the show for the last few months, let's be honest. And he said that this standalone multiplayer game, which isn't coming out until next year...
Whoa. Just to clarify, he did not say it was coming out next year. He said, we have more to tell you next year.
Oh, good catch. Good catch.
So that was a bit where I was like, what? Like, you're still not ready to show us anything from this multiplayer, and you've been developing it for 3 years now.
I've got a bit of a quote here. This comes from, of course, Push Square and Sammy Barker. The quote comes from Senior Communications Manager Rochelle Snyder, and she said, quote, "We can finally announce that we're creating something much larger than a mode. We're thrilled to share a piece of concept art from our upcoming multiplayer experience, which is an extremely ambitious undertaking. We're growing our studio significantly to ensure we build this full-scale, standalone game with its massive scope and immense world, in a way that fans have come to expect from The Last of Us and Naughty Dog." This is after the show on the PlayStation blog.
Was this the people overlooking the city? Was that the
That's right.
The artwork? Yeah.
Which is clearly San Francisco.
Yes, yeah, that's right. That was the setting for it. And so something that I wanted to point out is, one, look, it's taking a long time. I'm shocked they can't show us anything right now because, again, it's been like 3 years. But on the other side of this is definitively going to be like a game as a service. So it's going to be a service game. It's going to be a standalone service game. So I'd rather them take the time to get it right than to botch it, because I think it's Sony's first-party foray into live service games. So it's important they get it right. They now have Bungie in their stable, sort of, that they can lean on to get some guidance as well, which is important and probably takes a little bit of time. But just, I don't even know if we spoke about this, and we maybe did at some point, but just, it could be so sick. Now think about this. Let me just set this up for you. You've got like different factions, multiple different factions, and you join one of them as just a scrub. You get different weapons, different items. You got to go collect resources for the faction to continue surviving. And so you got to go out and you got to take out clickers. You got to like find supplies and loot stuff. And then you could be out in the middle of an open area and you're dealing with clickers, and then another faction rolls through, a little squad of faction walks through, and all of a sudden you have this weird thing where you've got clickers and actual other people that you are fighting for resources, like fighting over resources with. And that could be really cool.
Yeah, that was the most exciting part of, The Last of Us Part 2, where you would have those 3-sided fights.
Yeah. Imagine the 4-sided, like 2 other factions roll through into the same area, and it was just unexpected. And it doesn't always happen, but sometimes in these big open world sections, you'll just run into other factions that all of a sudden you have to either fight, or maybe you can trade with them, and like it could go one of either way, but it would then create that tenseness that you have in the game where you're like, are they friend, are they foe? And you just don't really know which way it's going to go. And then they can double cross you and shit. It could be really fucking sick. And I am disappointed we don't know more about it and we haven't seen more about it. But I'm hopeful that Naughty Dog, of all developers, will make something really, really cool.
I mean, I have faith. When we see this, who knows? But I think it'll be awesome. I think it'll be worth the wait once we finally do. Continuing in that spirit, we have a couple of just little quick hit news stories here. They didn't actually come from the show, but they were sort of floating around. Filming has concluded.
Neil confirmed both of these on the show, on the stage.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, so filming has concluded on HBO's The Last of Us adaptation. We did get some little screenshotties, which looked pretty good. This is...
looked okay. I'm not convinced of her as Ellie. Just on a looks basis. I know shouldn't be the only reason I'm saying that, but she just doesn't look like Ellie to me, and I feel like you always get
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal actually pulls off Joel relatively well.
Yeah. He's my boy.
But Ellie seems like she's missing the mark a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, that's all I'm going to have to say on it. I'm still going to watch the shit out of it.
Also confirmed that Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker, who voiced these characters in the game, will be in the show. We don't know as who yet, but they will have actual
significant roles. Yeah, significant roles. Not just little cameos where they do a little look to camera or something like that, but an actual role in there.
That is interesting, because I wonder who they could be in the first season of The Last of Us. There's no one for them really to be... you know what I would be a good pick? I don't know if this has been cast already, but Troy Baker is the bad dude. Sort of like...
I was actually going to go with... man, I'm so bad with names. Joel's brother, Tommy.
Oh, that's actually not bad. And
he could pull off a Tommy, and she could be...
his wife.
The wife.
She's a character, and she continues, honestly, I believe...
Yeah, she's in Last of Us too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Actually, that could be pretty good. I was again thinking the no spoilers, but the
I know what you're talking about.
cannibal.
The creepy, the cannibal creep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was, of course, the classic having actors on stage talking about the game that they're working on, which was to me just ultimate cringe.
Yeah.
Because this is where they also showed us the elusive Last of Us Part 1, or the Last of Us remake that we've been waiting to see for so long, which is coming out in September, which is very soon.
We also, just to round out this Naughty Dog block, we also got a strange confirmation, but, you know, again, I think Sammy from Push Square put it pretty well when he wrote, host and presenter Jeff Keighley then asked Neil Druckmann if he is still making games, and he confirmed that he is. Visibly awkward and unable to give much away, the Naughty Dog co-president confirmed that he's working on a new project, but that it's too early to share more. He joked, unless Sony wants to leak it, because of course we haven't mentioned that The Last of Us Part 1, which is what we're just about to talk about, leaked just before the show. I think it was barely an hour in what must have been devastating for them, but anyway.
Yeah, now these two things, The Last of Us Part 1 and the fact that Neil Druckmann's working on another PS5 game, they kind of tie in together because people are definitely a little bit butthurt that Final Fantasy? that The Last of Us Part 1 exists. Because they're like, but you could be making other games. Like, why would you remake the same game that's not that old? You could make other games. I'm like, it sounds like Naughty Dog has 3 full teams. One's on The Last of Us remake, one's on Factions, and one's making a new game.
They could support that. We don't know what's going on. Like,
they've surely been upscaling in the last decade because they're such an important part of PlayStation that they're not going to be like, oh, you just keep doing the same thing with the same amount of people. Like, Naughty Dog's probably got resources getting thrown at them. Like, please do more, please.
I don't know if you want to speculate too much about the PS5 project. We don't know anything outside of that.
I want a new IP. I would love a new IP.
Me too. Moving on to the Part 1, The Last of Us Part 1. Again, no one really asked for this, but now I get it. Like, it does make sense for posterity for the future. Like, now these two games will function the same way. I actually meant to include it, but Digital Foundry sort of did a comparison. They believe it's essentially just Part 1 is running on Part 2's engine, which makes sense.
Well, yeah, it totally makes sense. But it's also Part 2's engine for PS5 specifically.
Yeah, that's right. So it looks
probably
great.
Gonna be a little bit better again.
And it is nice because then forever we will have like parity. They will be like one thing.
It's fine. I think charging an Australian $125 for a remake of a game that came out, that a remaster came out like 4 years ago is absurd.
You know you're going to buy it.
No, I'm going to wait till you do.
Well,
and what I think is the best part is that we spoke about this like a few weeks ago on this show, and I was like, they are 100% going to charge full price for this. And you were like, nah, they won't do that. There's no way. I'm like, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
And not only are they charging full price, they're charging like as much as you can possibly get away with.
Yeah. And you know what the beauty is? The like deluxe ultra super version of the game sold out within like a few hours. It's already
like
gone.
US
You will all buy it.
I don't even know how much
you
it
all
was
talk
here.
shit. And everyone will buy it
Well,
again.
okay, so my counter to that is if you go, there's a super deluxe edition and it's $190 in Australia. I don't know if that's the actual price. Don't quote me on that. If you only make 10 of them, of course you're going to sell out. It's an easy thing to sell out of. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. But I'm like, it's not that impressive that they sold out. Like, I don't know how many there is. If there's only 1,000 of them, they're definitely going to sell out.
Yeah, it's true.
So people are like, oh, they sold out. I'm like, yeah, they probably, it's called marketing. They were like, just make this one version some dumb price and we'll sell out of it immediately. It'll be easy.
Now we move into the Xbox and Bethesda Showcase. This was, to me, the strongest showcase. And I'm actually a little bit jealous of a few things in here. And we're going to... Well, that's the fun thing, is a lot of this is multi-platform, even if Xbox definitely didn't want you to think it was multi-platform.
So, yeah, look, firstly... obviously, it's an Xbox Bethesda Showcase. We're covering it because most of it is multi-platform at some point in time. A lot of it is console launch exclusive to Xbox, and when it comes out on PlayStation is unknown to us, but it will at some point. And then there's also just a lot of... Honestly, if I'm looking at this list, there's really not a whole lot of Xbox exclusive stuff on there. Just a couple of big ones that we've obviously spoken about before.
So first off, we had Redfall, Arcane Studios, Xbox exclusive. We can move on.
Honestly, I didn't see what the hype was all about. Continue.
Yeah, I thought the other trailer they showed was more interesting. This was like actual gameplay, and I became less interested.
Didn't realize it was an FPS, and then realized it was Arcane Studios, so of course it was, and it's not interesting to me, so move on.
Next up, we had Hollow Knight Silksong. This is from Australian developer Team Cherry. Interesting to note, I didn't realize, but Hollow Knight came out in like 2018. So it's been years. It's been years this has been in development, and I'm really excited for it.
Constant jokes on the internet about did we actually just see another Silksong trailer without a release date? Because people are shook at how long this is taking.
Yes, we did.
But not for me.
Next, we had High on Life. This is a console launch exclusive developed by Squanch.
Honestly, one of the highlights for me. This game looks so fucking funny. So Squanch Games is the creator of Rick and Morty.
Oh, okay. Yep. Cool.
So essentially, it's a first-person shooter in some fucking zany. It's so zany that I can't even explain to you what is going on. But your weapons all talk to you and say crazy shit. And honestly, I cannot wait for this game to come to console because I think the funniest game I can think of on console is one of the South Park games. But I think this is gonna outdo it.
This is going to be another fun experiment too because again, I covered this event for Twinfinite and I got. Straight out of the gate, I got Hollow Knight. So I'm writing that story as quickly as I can. I missed this trailer, and I missed the next one, which is A Plague Tale Requiem.
Really quickly before you go into A Plague Tale Requiem.
Oh, sorry.
This, again, I think I deleted it because it wasn't super relevant to us, but worth mentioning. Riot Games is going to PC Game Pass, and some is going to... Is any on Xbox? No, I think it's all PC Game Pass, which is just like League of Legends... Valorant, all that shit's on Game Pass now. Like, if you are interested in that, that's something that's there, but continue.
So we had A Plague Tale Requiem by Asobo. Didn't see the trailer, but I'm sold on this game.
Looks good. As far as I'm aware in the first one, because I didn't play it, and it's actually, now that I saw this trailer, I was like, I should really go back and actually play that, because it was free on PlayStation Plus for a little bit.
It's awesome.
There was no real combat in the first game, was there?
There is, and you certainly get to a point in the game where you can start killing people. But in the opening part of it, no, you don't.
Okay.
People.
Well, it seems like they've leaned into that a lot more, and it seems like there's a bit of a choice because you are straight up assassinating people and stuff like that.
It's sort of like a narrative thing. Like you are an innocent, but by the end of it, you are killing people.
Well, it looks like they lean into the killing a lot more. They even mention it, like where he was like one of the guards as being like one of our men and dead, and they make it a pretty big point that someone died and they're looking for her.
Yeah.
And even the kid is like telling her not to kill people, but she does it anyway because killing's fun, huh?
Next up, we had Forza Motorsport, Xbox exclusive.
Continue.
Microsoft Flight Simulator exclusive.
Also continue, but...
Yeah, the cool thing was the Halo Pelican has come to Microsoft. Microsoft Flight Simulator is really impressive. Like, that's actually...
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, like, I got it for PC just as like a test to like push my computer to the limit because it's very demanding. It's like a very realistic thing. And yeah, it's kind of cool. It's not for me, but it's kind of cool.
My brother would love that. I know it. He would
I believe that. Then we had Overwatch 2, developed by Blizzard Entertainment. This is cool. Like I enjoyed our time playing Overwatch. I'd check this out.
Look, yeah, sure. Now, my concern with Overwatch 2 is I've not heard really anything good. Everyone seems to feel like this is more of DLC than an actual new game. I heard that it just didn't feel good, and I don't know, balance is probably a problem. But it's in early access, so they're still developing it. So yeah, who knows? It'll be playable later this year, apparently, with it being free to play, apparently, going into early access in October.
All right, well, then we had Ara, History Untold. This is PC exclusive. We had... Oh, and now I'm back, by the way, in the timeline. So my next story that I wrote was Forza Horizon Hot Wheels DLC. Also exclusive.
Obviously, too. Forza Horizon, if you're interested. If you like Hot Wheels, what a combo. Continue.
Then we had Arc 2, console launch exclusive from Image POC. I did see something about like this game is gonna have more like Souls combat or something in the sequel. I'm unfamiliar with the original.
I didn't really play the original too, and it doesn't really appeal to me, so we don't need to speak too much on it, but I do want to mention that I missed something out completely. And that's Fallout 76 is getting the Pit expansion, which was
That's right.
I believe a DLC from the original Fallout 3.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're interested in 76, there was a point where I was like, is it worth it? Is it worth trying to get onto 76? But I just don't think I can.
Yeah, I got it dirt cheap on PlayStation one time, and it's not. It's not Fallout. It's it's not. Then we had Scorn, another console launch exclusive. Ebb Software, and this was horrific to me.
I hated it, dude. I fucking
It's so upsetting and gross and dirty. It reminds me. I nearly said your most hated phrase, but we were talking about it offline, Govinda, and it reminds me of Stranger Things. Like that gross.
Yeah, it's worse, dude. It's worse. It's like super umbilical and like all the body parts are dripping and it's super gross. Like there's literally a point where it looks like a guy is pulling out an umbilical cord from his own stomach. And then Alana Pierce had a really good tweet saying, "I'm going to tell my kids that this is Pornhub," on that image. And then there's another guy who posted something that looks like it's just a wall with a little bump, and then out of the bump is coming like a dripping flaccid. It looks like a penis, but it's probably not. More umbilical cordy looking.
Yeah.
And someone on Twitter was like, "What is this?" And then I commented saying, "It's a plumbus." Now, if you're familiar with Rick and Morty, you'll know what a plumbus is, but I left a little GIF there. If you didn't know, check out the link tree, check out my Twitter, and you can find it.
All right. I'm sure we'll do that, Govinda.
The plumbus, dude.
Next, we had Flintlock by A44 Games. Again, I didn't see this trailer. I'm still in Hot Wheels time at this point.
You're so bad at being a video game journalist. It's crazy. Flintlock, it's third person
I feel like it was
action.
Good. It looked good.
It looks kind of interesting to me. Yeah, it does definitely look interesting. The powers look kind of cool. Dark Age, Dragon Age kind of vibes, but more fantastical. And probably more action combat rather than that like CRPG kind of style. But it definitely looked interesting to me. I could give it a go.
You're right.
They use the main character. She uses a flintlock pistol, much like you would in Bloodborne.
Yeah, sure.
To like stun enemies and do stuff. So it looks interesting.
Then we had Minecraft Legends, developed by Mojang. Again, missed this one.
No, sorry, real quickly. Minecraft Legends is a strategy game.
Oh, that's right. Next was Lightyear Frontier, console launch exclusive, developed by Framebreak. Again, didn't see this one.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to make of this. Mech suit, really sunny environment. I didn't quite know what's going on. It's like a farming simulator, but you're in a mech suit, and I assume the mech suit is more of like a farming mech suit. I don't know, dude. I don't know what this is. It could be fun. It gives me No Man's Sky vibes, kind of, but it's way more of like a Stardew Valley meets No Man's Sky. Graphics are nicer than No Man's Sky, and it's not a little top-down isometric Stardew thing, or not isometric, but sprite-based thing. So, looks interesting.
In the interest of time, I'm just going to say I think I was really struggling with the Hot Wheels story. I didn't see the next 8 stories, so I'll just throw it to you.
Luckily, I'm here for you, buddy.
So the next was Gunfire Reborn. This was developed by Duo Yi Interactive Entertainment. They're from Hong Kong. Don't know if that's the pronunciation.
I don't really know what to call this. It's like a FPS roguelike. I think there's RPG stuff going on in there. It almost looks like a hero shooter, but I'm not 100% sure if it's like a story-based thing or not. I think graphics are kind of like old school, like think Spyro the Dragon kind of vibes, you know? Like that sort of
colorful.
Thing. Colorful,
Saturated.
very colorful. Yeah. So that's that.
Okay. Next up, we had The Last Case of Benedict Fox. This is a console launch exclusive developed by Plot Twist.
It's kind of like a 2D side-scrolly Metroidvania kind of Dark Souls vibe, but I guess more fun than Dark Souls. But I think that's more the gameplay style is kind of more Dark Soulsy. But yeah, I don't have much to say on this one. It looks quite nice, and it looks like after you kill certain enemies, you go kind of into their mind, and it goes all black and white, and you kind of go through. But they promise engaging and emotional storytelling. So it's like a puzzle platformer, 2D side scroller. Looks fun.
Yeah, right. Then we had As Dusk Falls. This is an Xbox exclusive.
This is essentially your supermassive game sort of game. This is like The Quarry. It's like a interactive drama. Two families living in a small town in Arizona. And I don't know. I don't exactly know what you're doing in this, but I think it's, kind of like your Heavy Rain Until Dawn kind of stuff.
Okay, well then we had Naraka Blade Point. That was a console launch exclusive developed by 24 Entertainment.
I don't know what this is. It's like
Actually, I do remember this. This was a battle royale.
Okay, that's a battle royale. Okay, cool. I was going to say, this looks like... There was a game ages ago, and I've forgotten about it because it's so generic, that was on PlayStation Plus, and we looked at it, and we were like, this looks like the most generic sort of game that's ever existed. And it's just, there's no substance to it, and there's no, like, identity to it, and that's what I would call this. But now I'm seeing it's a 60-player PvP action combat game, so maybe it's good, but I'll almost certainly never play it unless it's free. Even then, maybe not.
Then we had Pentiment, another Xbox exclusive. This was interesting to me.
Yeah, so Pentiment is from Obsidian, who Xbox acquired at some point in the past. They've essentially, from what someone said on the internet, it is their take on like Disco Elysium. It's a very much just a adventure game. Doesn't look like there's any like combat. You're just kind of making decisions and going around. But the world is set as if you're like a 16th century book, like hand-painted books and stuff. And that's kind of how it looks the whole way through. This is actually the game director that did Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's Josh Sawyer. So yeah, Fallout New Vegas, Pillars of Eternity, which is huge for me. Important to note, he got involved in something and is basically cancelled and a bad person, allegedly.
Well, and that's why I'm glad we don't have Obsidian anymore, because I want Fallout New Vegas and you gave me Pentiment instead. No, it could be good. It just doesn't look like a game necessarily for me. Something I also missed. No, I didn't. It's actually in there. Obsidian's also, there's a game called Grounded apparently that's been out for a little while that I didn't know about. And it's essentially Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game. But it's finally coming out of early access.
Yeah, also Xbox exclusive, we should say.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. Oh, I said, if I ever say Obsidian, just know that you're not playing it on PlayStation.
Then we had Ereban, Shadow Legacy, console launch exclusive, developed by Baby Robot Games. I missed this one too, but it kind of looks cool.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, some of the stuff I just don't even know how to describe this to you, know what I mean? What do they say here on Game Radar? They're calling it a stylish third-person isometric ninja action style game. It does look pretty cool. I don't know, again, what it is really, but it does look interesting. Kind of action platformer, stealth kills, running around. Art style is fantastic.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Looks like something I'd be into.
Looks like she can turn to a shadow. It almost gives me Gravity Rush vibes. Just nicer because it's newer.
Next up, we had Diablo 4 by Blizzard Entertainment. At this point, I have finished the Hot Wheels story and I'm back. I saw
Game
this.
Game of the show.
And I messaged Govinda, I don't know, at some point. I think, I wasn't a huge fan of Diablo 3, but this one kind of has me back. I'm interested. This looks so good, like visually.
Oh, yeah, it looks really, really cool. And the one thing Khayl always spoke about not liking about Diablo 3 is that you'll have a weapon that you don't use because you're just using all your abilities constantly, and it looks like the weapons are back in action, so Khayl's happy with that.
Day one.
Yeah, in this trailer, they revealed the Necromancer class, which looks pretty cool, and that kind of goes through the backstory by the looks of it about what it takes to become a Necromancer. But I'm down, and I will play it, and this honestly was the one that I look forward to the most out of this whole show. And fortunately, it is coming to PlayStation, even though it is made by Blizzard Activision, who apparently hates PlayStation.
Unlike our next game, which was also the next news story I wrote, very quickly. Sea of Thieves Season 7. I actually wish we had this game. It's funny.
If I build a PC, I can.
Yeah, it looks like fun. I think we would
It does look like fun. We could definitely get Ant playing this.
Yeah, if we had like a group of people and you just like crew a pirate ship together, it would be a great time. It's a great time.
Do you know how many times I would say, I am the captain now?
A lot.
Too many. It would make it not fun, so count yourself lucky.
Then we had Ravenlock, developed by Coco Cucumber 6. I guess I'm writing again now, so I didn't see any of the rest of these. any of them at all.
Luckily, you got me here. And you said you were going to school me, but here I am schooling you, Khayl. This actually looks really cool. I don't know. It's super colorful again. It's kind of like cartoony. You're going around with a little sword and shield, kind of maybe Zelda vibes, but all of the creatures look like they're built up by little blocks, like the voxels out of whatever that fucking game was. Shit. But it looks like a fun little action-adventure game. Lots of monsters and magic, and it looks really nicely presented. I love presentation.
It does look cool. I'm looking at it now. That looks like something up my alley for sure.
Yeah, dude. I think that looks really, really cool. You mentioned that was from Coco Cucumbers, correct?
Yeah, that's an incredible name, Coco Cucumber.
It's a fantastic name, dude. I'm a big fan.
Alrighty then. Well, then we had Cocoon, console launch exclusive. This is developed by Geometric Interactive, the developer of Inside and Limbo, which means it's a day one for me.
I guess so. I don't think this looks good particularly, but I guess it just needs, maybe you need some more like understanding about what you're doing, but it's just a dude picking up orbs and putting them on platforms and then going to another platform and putting another orb on the platform, and then moves onto the platform and then drops another orb, but then this orb lights up a space that was once dark but is now light, and then he puts it on a platform. It doesn't look special, but the pedigree is there, so...
Then we had Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, developed by Team Ninja. This is, I was saying to you, basically Three Kingdoms Neo.
Yeah, and that's essentially what it is. I don't think it didn't really super appeal to me, but I think I don't know why either. It just didn't really do it for me. The one thing is this game is pretty much the reason why the internet speculated that Microsoft had a 2-day embargo on anyone releasing multi-platform information for all these console launch exclusive games, because no one was getting told about multi-platform status until about 2 days later, and this I think was the first one to say it.
Yeah, that's something I'll check out. I'm pretty into Neo, obviously.
Yeah, I never Neo'd, so it's lost. And it seemed like it was just a bit of a cinematic trailer. We didn't get too much about the gameplay, so what it really is, I couldn't tell you. But it'll probably be great combat. That seems to be their thing.
Then we had a quick little aside, and again, I missed this, but obviously read about it later. Hideo Kojima partnering with Microsoft to create something for the Xbox.
So this is what people are presuming was that Overdose game that we spoke about last week.
Yeah.
That Kojima wanted people to take down. Now, the interesting thing about Kojima talking about this on the thing is they didn't show anything. They didn't show a logo. They showed nothing. They didn't even mention the name Overdose. All it was Kojima talking about Xbox's cloud gaming, which seems like it's going to be a game specifically to leverage the cloud. There was a tweet from Xbox after the show that said Xbox Game Studios and Kojima Productions are partnering to create a video game for Xbox Live no one has ever experienced before, leveraging the cloud. So if you're interested in cloud gaming, that could be cool, but I don't know if it's going to be what people are hoping it's going to be.
Yeah, I've got one more little follow-up here to Push Square, Stephen Tailby. He has an article. Basically, there was another tweet, and it says, after the announcement of our partnership with Microsoft using the cloud technology, many people have asked us about our collaboration with SIE. Please be assured that we continue to have a very good partnership with PlayStation as well. So this doesn't mean he's done with PlayStation, is what I'm
No, not at all. Wasn't there rumblings of Death Stranding 2 as well?
Well, yeah, remember Norman Reedus just fucking blew that thing up.
There we go. So I don't think he's going anywhere, but I think he's just realized that there is millions of people that would buy games and spend money on his games that are not currently because they physically cannot do it. And so he was like, give me the money, please.
It's almost like he's an independent developer and he's good at business.
Well, it's also like at this point in time is the best time to take all of Microsoft's money so they can put games on Game Pass, because it seems like they are throwing money at anyone willing to do it. Because surprisingly, I think all of the games that we got shown here are going to be on day one Game Pass.
Yeah, that was like the constant hammering. And they've been doing that for a while now, like with their showcases, but it really starts to sink in after a while. You're like, oh my God.
PlayStation got Stray and Xbox got every game that we just mentioned.
Yeah, day one. I'll keep moving along.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, this one was the gut punch. I was, again, writing, but I had to stop to just fucking... So, the announcement that Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal are all coming to Xbox. This was a megaton because, for the record, you cannot play Persona 3 Portable or Persona 4 Golden on any PlayStation platform outside of the now defunct Vita.
But maybe.
And also, and up until this point, Persona 5 Royal has been a PlayStation exclusive.
That is true. That's a big pull for them. I think this kind of bodes well for us, though. I feel like maybe they'll have some exclusive rights to it initially, but it feels like Golden and 3 Portable will come to PlayStation eventually.
I can actually confirm that they are. Again, more reporting by the inimitable Push Square. They're all coming to PS5, no PS4 versions, although we don't have 100% confirmation on Persona 5 getting, what have I been saying for the entire run of this show, Govinda? A PS5 version of Persona 5 Royal. At that point, I will beat it. Because
Why? Why?
This is what I've been waiting for this whole time. This is the
Why?
60 FPS that I want.
Is it not 60?
No, that's why I've been holding off. We've talked about this so many times over the months.
I don't think we have. I just give you
definitely
shit
have.
about not finishing it. I don't think we very much. I think maybe
It's-
once we've talked about its frame rate.
It's locked at 30 and it's beautiful. It's already dynamic 4K, but it could be smoother. And I cannot help but... Like, I play it anyway. I played a little last
It's
week.
one of those games that I'm thinking about. I'm like, sure, in the combat, maybe you'd want it to be a little bit smoother, but I feel like the 60 frames a second really comes in when you are actively doing combat. Like, you're pushing a button to swing a sword, you know? When you're doing turn-based, I feel like it's less important.
I mean, it's obviously you spend most of your time in battles, but there is a lot of the game where you're in the dungeons and like platforming and things. Like that could be at 60 and it would just feel better. It wouldn't be...
It's true. I can't deny it. It would feel
game-changing.
better, but I don't think it's game-changing, and I don't think it's any reason for you to have not finished with Persona 5.
But now I have a rock-solid reason to wait. A rock-solid reason.
You're a real piece of shit, Khayl. You're a real piece of shit.
Thank you. And now here comes the moment we've all been waiting for. Next up revealed was Starfield by Bethesda Game Studios, an Xbox exclusive. Govinda.
Otherwise known as Starfield, the next expansion to No Man's Sky.
Yeah, there were some pretty damning comparisons afterwards. This looked rough to me, and I'm sorry to say it. Like, the gunplay looked horrific.
Yeah,
Horrific.
it didn't look amazing, but again, it's like I don't play Fallout because it's got good gunplay and the characters look good, and like that's never been a reason to play Fallout. I play Fallout because it's like the crazy world they've built and the stories you find along the way are interesting and cool. My concern is at the end of the show, Todd Howard then is like, if you're wondering how big it's going to be, it's over 100 solar systems and over 1,000 planets to explore. Now, the planet they showed in this demo looked desolate at best. Like,
It's a good
there was
word.
nothing on it. Yeah, there was nothing on it. It was pretty empty. The best part about Fallouts for me is they do a very good job at building a world and handcrafting a small, relatively large space, honestly, but relative to this game, a tiny little space. Now, it takes them 6 years to do that typically. How are they going to flesh out 1,000 planets with any sense of detail and not make them feel like empty shells when I don't think they couldn't do one full planet in the time that they're taking to make this game.
Yeah, just to take it back and sideways, like the gunplay in Fallout 4, I actually thought was great. You'll remember that I fell down that rabbit hole at the end of last year. Like, somehow this looks worse. And then again, on the subject of Fallout, like, it was confirmed today that after this game, they're working on the Elder Scrolls 6, and then they're going to Fallout 5, which at that current rate of burn means we won't get Fallout 5 until the mid-2030s.
Yeah, this is it.
It's
This is meant to tide you
insane.
over till then.
It's insane. It's so long.
I don't think it look terrible. I think the biggest problem is like you're shooting lasers and the lasers are not on target. Like they're deviating so aggressively from what you're aiming at. And if I'm playing that game, that's going to drive me insane. Also, like the enemies just don't seem to be smart. The AI looked bad. Like they were getting shot in the back and not responding to it at all. And I saw someone on Twitter compare it to GoldenEye on Nintendo 64, where when you shoot, you shoot a guard in the back, in the butt, and he fully jumps and reacts and like grabs his butt. And then in a game in 2022 made by one of the biggest developers in the world, you shoot someone in the back 20 times until they die with no reaction.
It's funny too. I think there's a new interview with IGN and Todd Howard, and another little tidbit that came out of that. Like even the No Man's Sky comparison isn't apt because they've confirmed you can't leave the atmosphere of a planet in your ship.
I was wondering about that. It
Yeah,
looks
you
you
can't do
must
that.
just teleport out of the
Yeah, which is like, and again, they're obviously very different games, but this game is going to be compared to that heavily. And it's,
Oh yeah.
because again, like you said, they showed off you like mining, just like it was No
dude,
Man's Sky.
almost.
It was-
I checked out immediately, and that's like the first like 20 seconds of this trailer is he pulls out a laser beam, and mines iron ore out of the planet, and I was like, what?
yeah,
Excuse me?
it's a tough
So,
one. It's a tough one.
It's one of those things where if the world is good and it's good, like it could be great. And again, it's probably a year away from being released. Like I'd say end of next year is when you're maybe going to play this game. So there's plenty of time for them to adjust things and change it. But I'm honestly super concerned about also the classic dead-eyed NPCs. I was like,
Yeah.
have we not moved past this at all?
No,
Like,
and like you talk to one, it like zooms in on them. They're like, "Hello, traveler."
they don't
How are
move,
you?
their arms never move, their eyes. They have a little better facial animations I was seeing from some of them, but I'm just concerned they're going to have pretty empty 1,000 planets. I'd almost rather them do like just 10 good planets rather than 1,000 empty ones.
Who knows? Like, look, I'll check it out. Like again, you know, like this will come out. Hopefully, you'll have your cool gaming rig, and this
Well,
is like a month of your life. Like these games, it's hard to, you know, like sometimes the gameplay doesn't translate, but nothing else sucks you in like a good Bethesda game, or at least they used to.
That's true, they used to, but even 4 it waned on me. And this is why I was thinking, I was like, even with the PC, they'd be sick, but I'd probably want to wait until there's mods out.
Yeah, which that'll happen quickly. That's another world you get to explore. It's
Holy
all right, well,
shit, Khayl. Okay, look, that's the end of the Xbox Bethesda Showcase.
here we move into the future game show, which I actually did watch the vast majority of. Govinda didn't really.
It's all nothing. This is all Khayl. I'm just going to stop talking. It's all Khayl now.
Yeah, right. So the games I wanted to highlight here, and these are coming to PlayStation 2. There was a lot of like, you know, overlap. First up, we had Luto by Broken Bird Games. This is a first-person psychological horror game. It's actually developed by a Spanish studio, Broken Bird Games. Nothing groundbreaking. It had really incredible sheet physics, which I wanted to highlight. Like,
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. So just a random aside that you say sheet physics. I just saw on Twitter like today that Hogwarts Legacy people were asking about the cloak physics. And so they showed a little snippet, a little gif of the cloak physics, and they're really fucking good cloak physics.
Well,
so
I implore you to check this out. Like, this is a scary game where you go through a scary house and there's like a being that's in like a white sheet, like your classic
the classic
Halloween
ghost.
but it's terrifying. And the physics on it are so incredible. Like it's
You know what's interesting too is typically pillows and sheets are really, really, really hard for developers to mimic. And that's why you'll never see a character get under the sheets.
yeah.
They're
That's
always
fair.
lying on top of the bed in full clothes for some reason. And it's because sheets are notoriously difficult to deal with. So I guess it's not quite the same as someone getting into a bed, but still cool.
Then we had Bramble the Mountain King, developed by Dim Frost Studio. This one is very interesting to me. It looks like Little Nightmares, if you've ever seen that. So it's like a side-scrolling platformer, but you're like a little boy and you're in a really grim, dark world. And you're like these monsters. This game's inspired by like Nordic fables, and it's like...
So kind of limbo-y?
Yeah, a little bit.
Just not like not the silhouette-y vibe, but just kind of that tone.
I would call that an inspiration for sure. But I think this one, it's something to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had The Last Faith, developed by Kumi Souls Games. This is like a Metroidvania 2D kind of Hollow Knight vibe, but very Bloodborne. Less Dark Souls and more Bloodborne, and it looks really good. Really nice animations. That's something I'll be checking out. And then finally, there was Arctic Awakening, Goldfire Studios. This one is very much Firewatch, but in the snow. And you have a robot. So it's like you're trying to survive in the wilderness. It's futuristic, but like you're in the Arctic wilderness. And it looks great. Like really good voice acting.
I actually saw a little bit of the Arctic Awakening one. It does look cool. Like it looks like you'll have a cool little relationship with your little AI drone companion.
And that's actually it. There was obviously a lot more, but that's all that stood out to me specifically. Then we had the PC Gaming Show, and obviously there was not a lot here for us, but actually there was a bit, but we kind of cut it for time. The highlights, though, are the System Shock remake by Night Dive Studios. The trailer for this was unbelievable. Like Shodan, the villain in this, it's like the AI that you're kind of working against. I implore everyone to watch this trailer. Like it is, the voiceover this thing is doing is just unbelievable. And it's obviously like this is one of the key inspirations for BioShock. So anyone that had even a vague interest in that, you should be keeping an eye on this.
Wait, give me 1 second. I'm going to watch it. All right, I just watched the trailer and that does look real good. That does look really, really good. The voiceover gives me solid like 2001 Space Odyssey vibes.
Oh, yeah. And it's important to note that trailer is called From Shodan with Hate, which I love.
I don't get it.
Like as in like From Russia with Love? It's From Shodan with Hate.
What's Shodan?
Oh, Shodan is the AI that you're hearing. That is a computer controlling.
Okay. I'm with you.
It is the system that you are attempting to shock, if you will.
Oh, it's the namesake almost. Well, that looks dope, and I would like to play that because it looks very good. It looks very good. That's coming to PS5, correct?
Yeah, eventually.
Tight.
And then just for me, Space Marine 2, I'm interested in this. Saber Interactive. I'm kind of a Warhammer fucking nerd, so... Well, there it is.
Not really. When's the last time you played a Warhammer game? Oh, actually, don't answer that because I know when it was, and it was Total War.
It was like,
never mind.
No, it wasn't. I reviewed fucking... What was it?
Didn't Total War Warhammer 2 or something come out recently?
I just reviewed Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, and it was great. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Can I? Will it get me high? Never mind. Okay, real quickly, this is going to be a quick one because we got places to be and people to see, and I don't want to edit for 20 years before this show comes out. Capcom had a showcase as well, and let's sum this up with pretty much, hey, all these games that you already knew about, we're going to show you them again. And that's what they did. Street Fighter 6, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and what was the other one? There was another one. Oh, Monster Hunter Rise DLC. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, we also got the big news that Resident Evil 2, 3 Remake both got native PS5 versions immediately at the time of the show.
Wasn't there Biohazard as well?
Yeah, and 7-2. We also got the reveal of new DLC for Resident Evil 8.
The multiplayer.
No, it's a story DLC.
Well, there was the multiplayer because it had the bits where you could play as Heisenberg and you could play as Dimitrescu.
Specifically, I was talking about the Shadows of Rose story DLC.
True. That's true. There was extra actual story DLC, true. But they did show us some multiplayer stuff as well.
You're right. It was the Mercenaries mode thing. So there's that. That's all cool.
The story of Rose looked sort of interesting because it's like
it's set afterwards.
It's set after Resident Evil 8, and you are Rose, who is the daughter of, what's his name, the main character?
Ethan Winters.
That's the one. You're the daughter of Ethan Winters, and you're after the fact, you've got all these powers, you know what to deal with them, and you end up going to like a shadow realm and meeting another girl who looks exactly like you and dealing with all this crazy shit in the shadow realm. The cool update that I thought was actually interesting is for the main game, they've added a third-person mode for Resident Evil 8.
Oh, I didn't see that. That is kind of cool.
Yeah, they added a third-person mode, which I thought was really good. And the Rose DLC is also third-person as well. But look, it was a very underwhelming showcase, and I feel like I wasted an hour of my time watching it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it at the time. I just caught it later. But yeah, and so that's it. That's the Long Live Play Showcase.
I hope it never happens again, dude. That's
it's gonna happen again.
Well, actually, I'm so sorry. If you hated this episode, write into Khayl and let him know.
E3's back next year, so maybe it'll be a little more truncated.
So they say.
So they say.
So they say. I don't know if that's going to happen. It was meant to happen this year. They said it was, and it didn't. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? But Govinda, this has been an experience. But I'm a little bit hungry, and I'd love to.
I gotta go, and I'm gonna have to start editing tonight because I'm so sad. So please upload your audio.
I'll do it immediately.
With that out of the way, this has been episode 54 of Long Live Play. I've been me, Khayl's been him. We've covered from yin to yang every game that's been announced. Not really. We missed a few because there's too many. It's too many to count. But that was a good chunk of them. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be excited. Goodbye.
Goodbye.